Now, in the last class, we discussed on how we can create a new class and instantiate that particular class. In this class, we are going to talk about visibility and inheritance. Now, talking about visibility and inheritance, I can't avoid to talk about methods and properties. Now, it's kind of weird because I have not yet talked about methods and properties, but you'll just get along, and I'm going to discuss about methods and properties in the next video. But in this video, we are going to concentrate on visibility and inheritance. Now, I have added some properties here. We have the first, the second, and the age. And down here, I have another class which is called pet. And I have a method inside here which is called owner. And I kind of have a variable there, and I'm returning that particular variable. Now, I'm going to set this method to private. And I'm going to try and require it in this index file inside here. So in this index file, I have included the new class.inc.php so that I can be able to use it down here and show it into the browser. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new object. I'm going to call it pet1 and new pet. So we have instantiated this object, and I'm going to echo out the method that is inside this object. So I'm going to write variable pet1, then I'm going to point into that method that is called owner. So let me run the browser and see what is going to happen on the other end. So there we go, we have a fatal error, call to a private method pet owner. So why are we not able to access this particular method? This is because this method is private. Now I'm going to change this visibility key into public so that we can see what is going to happen on the browser. Refresh, and as you can see, I am able to get my string. So let me just cut this and paste it up here. And what I'm going to do here is delete this string, and I'm going to use this keyword. This keyword is a variable that is supposed to help us access the properties that are inside this particular class that we are in. And I'm going to point into the first property, which is first name. Now you'll notice that I've not used the variable symbol, which is the dollar here. This is because this is a property, this is not a variable. Now I want you to get the difference. This is a property and not a variable. And this one here, this one is a method but not a function. So I'm going to try and require this and see if I'm going to get this first property here in my index.php file. Now the one thing that I'm going to change here is this object, and I'm going to write here person, because this is where we are going to require this method from. So I'm going to refresh on my browser, and as you can see, I am able to access this private property. Now what if I try to access this private property directly? Am I able to access it? So I'm going to of course the object is the same, so here down I'm going to just try to access the first name and see if I'm going to get it. So I'm going to refresh and see. So as you can see, we have an uncaught error and cannot access private property person. So this is because we cannot directly access a private property inside a class. The only thing that we need to do is use a public function, which we can use it to access this private property. Now what are we supposed to do? Again, I think I'm supposed to show you on how we can access these properties here directly without really using a method. And the only thing that we're supposed to do is just use the public keyword. Now when I use the public keyword, and I can just get this variable get this property directly from this object that I have created in the index.php file, and I'm going just to point to it here. And when I refresh on the browser, as you can see, I'm able to get the same name. Now I'm going to copy this again, to cut this method, and I'm going to return it to this class, which is called pet. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm still going to try and see if I'm going to get this first property and show it into the browser. I'm going to refresh, and we have an unquote error, cannot access private property person. Now this is because this particular property is private in this class, and we can therefore not access it inside this method in this other class, even if this method is public. Now what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to use a keyword here which is called extends. Now the extends keyword, it will help us access this property in this other class, and we are going to put here a name of the class which is person. Now I'm again trying to see if I'm going to access this property of this function, of this method, owner. And I'm going to refresh in the browser. So we still have an error of call to undefined method person. Now this is because as much as we have extended this class, this property is still private. Now the keyword that you're supposed to change here so that we can access this particular property is use the visibility keyword, and that is protected. Now protected properties, they can be accessed from another class that extends the properties of that particular class, which that property is meant to dwell there. So I think now we can be able to access this particular property, and let me refresh and see. So unquote error call to undefined method person. I think we have an error here, and I just need to correct this. I just forgot to correct this into pet, and let me refresh and see. And yes, as you can see, I'm able to get this first name of the class person from this other class by using the extends keyword. So I guess that best explains on the difference between public, private, and protected keywords in object-oriented PHP, and as well as you have at least got some ideas on methods and properties and inheritance in the same lesson. But don't worry about methods and properties, because I'm going to explain them in another video in this same series, so that you get to understand them more and get to know them better. So have a nice time.